Good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen. It's day 2 of the 2024 edition of the Gas Challenge, which also happens to be the 5th anniversary of the Gas Challenge. Like we all rightly know, the Gas Challenge started in 2019 and ran all through 2019, and then COVID struck, and then we came back in 2021, 2022, 2023, and we're here 2024. It's been a very long journey, but it's been worth coming all these miles. It's been worth coming all these kilometers. It's been worth coming all this journey. And we're grateful to all of you for coming all this way with all of us to come this far. Today, in this contest, we are going to have the Takoradi Technical University. We're going to have the University of Energy and Natural Resources, and we are going to have the Tamale Technical University. Yesterday was day 1. It was very exciting, and it was a learning opportunity for most of us who were here in this auditorium, and even our followers or stakeholders who join us online. And we are very hopeful that today will be a more interesting episode. Having said this, we want to say a very warm welcome to our brothers from the senior high school, from the Accra Academy, who are here with us. You are most welcome to this place. We also want to acknowledge the presence of the chairperson of the Gas Challenge Planning Committee, who also doubles as the head of the Government Relations Department at the Ghana National Gas Company, Mrs. Augustina Asari Osei. We also want to acknowledge our technical team this morning who are not seated together. They are dotted all over the auditorium, performing some assignments. And also want to especially acknowledge our stakeholders who are here with us this morning for today's contest. Like I've said, this year's contest, which is the 5th edition, has taken a detour a little bit. And so in this detour, this year we have the innovation edition of the Gas Challenge. And so we would not usually, as it were, do what we have been doing in the past 4 years. But this year, the institutions will present to us on some specific cases or assignments that they have been given by the Ghana National Gas Company. And it's been 2 months these universities have been working on these cases that they have been given. And so we are rest assured that we are going to be enjoying a very fine presentation with some details that should provide solutions to challenges that we face in industry or the world of work. Having said this, I would invite the chairperson to just give us a brief remark, and then we can take off with the Gas Challenge. So let's give a round of applause even as she comes.
Good morning, everybody. So thank you and welcome to you all, especially those of you from near and far. We are very grateful to our senior secondary school students as well. I hope that this day will be yet another opportunity for you to learn as to the presentations, the innovation that will be showcasing here on stage. As Harrison said, yesterday we did the opening, and all the long speeches were all done yesterday. So today we're not going to bore you with all those long speeches. The only thing I want to do is to appreciate your presence, appreciate that every year you keep faith with us. Without you as our institutions and also our stakeholders, there is no Gas Challenge. We are very much grateful. Also today I want to acknowledge our production team, Studio HD, for a wonderful job. Everything that you see going live online is at the courtesy of Studio HD, and we want to acknowledge them as well for the hard work they've been doing for us. So today it promises to be a very exciting moment with 6 schools competing, so 3 in the morning, and the balloting, I believe, has taken place already, and then in the afternoon the other 3 will take place. So I want to wish all the institutions the very best of luck, and may the best team win. Definitely after this afternoon, all the results will be known to everybody, and the first 6 schools who made it to the semifinals will be announced appropriately to you. So thank you very much and enjoy the day. Thank you.
Right, so the chairperson having opened, I'm sure that we are ready to go. And so, ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, I'll first introduce our panel who would be reviewing the presentations and would ask the questions for us. But let me say that the institutions or the universities have presented their reports already on the problems that they were given to attend to. It was in two folds. One was a commercial issue and one is an engineering issue. And they have provided their solution or their report already. I'm sure that the panel has looked through their results. But this morning, sitting in the chair for Ras as the chairman of the panel and the head of the panel is Dr. Emmanuel Ankude, who is a senior lecturer at the Department of Chemical Engineering at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. I just want to add that he has over 20 years of teaching, research, and administrative experience in this sector. And so he's a very good person this morning to be one of our panel members who would be moderating the session. We can give it up to Dr. Ankude. As part of the panel, we have Engineer Portia Ouswa Obing, who works with the Petroleum Commission as a reservoir engineer. She also has industry experience, and so we believe that she will be relevant this morning for our assignment. And so yesterday and today, these panel members have been the team that we've been working with. In addition to them will be Sylvester Enyumi Kujo, who will join them upstage for this job. Having said this, I want to give the opportunity to the coaches of the various institutions just to say hello to us, and then we can move on from here. And so, in no special order, I think I would want to start from Tamale Technical University. Let's give it up to Asikan.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Vice Chancellor of Tamale Technical University, I wish to say a very big thank you to Ghana Gas for accepting us to join them. So, we are not saying much. We are here to win. And Tamale Technical.
Thank you very much, Doc. Like we rightly heard from him, he said that they have not so much to win, to say than to win, and so I also believe that the win is for them because they want to win. So the win is for them, just like it's for all other institutions. So you were too quick to have clapped for my statement. So we move straight to Sunyani, and we'll receive the code for the University of Energy and Natural Resources. Let's put our hands together, even as it comes.
Yeah, thank you very much. On behalf of our Vice Chancellor, Professor Elvis Asaribidiakon, I stand in his stead to say that greetings to all of you. And it's a beautiful year. You're going to have an exciting gas challenge this year too. And of course, University of Energy and Natural Resources, as our name goes, energy is for us. We're winning. Thank you very much.
Well, everybody seems to be claiming energy is for us, winning is for us. But let's see who wins. And so we invite upstage the coach for Takrady Technical University, Dr. J.J. Owusu.
Premier. Although my guys are not here, but I believe they are hearing it in spirit. Good morning once again, and on behalf of the Vice Chancellor of Takrady Technical University, we wish to express our sincere gratitude to Ghana Gas for once again inviting us to be part of this contest. It's a great privilege. I always say it's a great privilege to be part of a competition like this. And this time, we hope we are going far. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Owusu. And so one may ask, what's the story of the gas challenge like? We started with 9 institutions and later on added 3 other institutions, and that made it 12 institutions as we have now. But the question is, what has the journey been so far? And so up on our screens will be the journey so far.
In May 2019, the Government Relations Department of the Ghana Gas Company birthed an initiative that would ignite minds and fuel competitions. This is the Gas Challenge, a pioneering production designed to deepen the engagement and knowledge of Ghana's energy sector. The very first edition, dubbed the Stakeholder Edition, brought together key players in the gas industry. Institutions like the Ministry of Energy, the Energy Commission, the National Petroleum Commission, and even the Daily Graphic took part in the friendly but fierce competition. It was a battle of wits and knowledge, where the Ministry of Energy ultimately emerged victorious. In 2019, the challenge evolved. The student edition was launched, pitting some of Ghana's top universities against each other. Universities offering courses related to the gas industry, such as the University of Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, University of Mines and Technology, and others, faced off in an intellectually charged atmosphere. This was no ordinary competition. It was a battle for supremacy in the energy sector. The competition, held across 3 major regions, Greater Accra, Kumasi, and the Western region, saw the University of Mines and Technology, UMAT, clinch the title in the very first student edition. For 3 consecutive years, UMAT would continue their reign, proving their dominance in the field of energy education. But the Gas Challenge didn't stop there. It grew. New institutions like Ho Technical University, Kumasi Technical University, and Tamale Technical University joined, bringing the total number of competing universities to 12. The competition became tougher, the stakes higher. And then, after years of dominance, the unthinkable happened. In a dramatic turn, KNUST dethroned UMAT, marking a new era in the Gas Challenge's storied history. The challenge paused only once, during the global pandemic of 2020, but it returned stronger, more resilient. Now, as we celebrate the 5th anniversary of the Gas Challenge, we reflect on the lives this competition has impacted. Many former contestants are now thriving in key roles within the energy sector, both in Ghana and beyond. The challenge has not only sparked intellectual growth, but has opened doors to endless possibilities. 5 years of excellence, innovation and competition. The Gas Challenge, where knowledge is power and gas is the future. Knowledge is power. Gas is indeed power.
So that's the story told in some 2 or 3 minutes. A story for the past 4 years, and this year is the 5th year. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to acknowledge one of our technical committee members who is here. Dr. Frank Boatin is here with us as well. So right from here, at the prelims, when we are done, we would move to the semi-finals, which will happen in Kumasi on the 15th of November. On the 5th of November, and then we'll come back to Accra for the grand finale on the 14th of November. Having said this, ladies and gentlemen, I think it is expedient and proper that at this juncture we move straight to the quiz. And so I would give the opportunity to the panel who will tell us the rules of engagement, and then right from that, then we will move straight to the Takoradi Technical University, who would be doing the first presentation with us. So, Dr. Nkude, over to you.
Thank you, Harrison, and welcome everybody. I can see people are excited. They can't wait to give us what is actually running through their heads right now. So straight to the rules, which every institution is also aware of. The teams were supposed to submit their reports a week prior to the contest, while the PowerPoint slides were submitted the day before the Innovation Challenge. So candidates will not be permitted to bring anything like textbooks, notebooks, phones, or other foreign material to the stage. Now, there are 2 presentations today. For each of those, each team will be allowed 15 minutes for PowerPoint presentation of their report and findings. And then there will be some time for questions and answers. We expected that all candidates will be seated 20 minutes before the commencement of the program. Now, this is the scoring. The submitted reports will be graded over 40 marks. Then the stage presentation, it's overall graded over 60, implying your presentation and the way you answer questions. Everything will be added up to 60. So the scores obtained during the PowerPoint presentation and that for the report will be aggregated to determine who qualifies for the next stage. So it means that at the end, we are going to rank all institutions from day 1 and day 2 in that order. And the best 6 institutions will now qualify for the semifinals. Then a very important part, in the event of a tie, the best performing institution on stage will be considered to move on. And then we are also aware that Ghana Gas retains exclusive ownership rights to all materials, documents, presentations, and intellectual property developed, submitted, or created during the competition period. So all participants acknowledge that all intellectual property rights, including copyrights, trademarks, and patents, once these documents are submitted, all those are now vested in Ghana Gas. So by so doing, you are granting Ghana Gas unrestricted, royalty-free, and irrecoverable rights in use, reproduce, modify, and distribute such materials. Hope we are all on the same page. Okay, so those are the rules. And we are ready for what we have come here to do. So there are 3 schools competing this morning, UENR, TaTU, and TaTU. So the first to come on stage is TTU, Takoradi Technical University. So if you are ready. Okay, welcome, young men.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, can you tell us about yourselves so that we can start?
My name is Sylvester Apia, a 4th-year petroleum engineering student from Takoradi Technical University.
And I am Emmanuel Blemiza, a 3rd-year petroleum engineering student.
Okay, so you are all in petroleum engineering, and today we'll hear the skills from you. Okay, the first presentation is on the commercialization, and you have been given the problem statement. We wanted to project it, but we can just say something about it. It's about 3 products that were given to you, and you are to try and develop a commercialization plan for those products. Okay, this is now projected up there. So, okay, no, this is your presentation. So if you are ready, it's going to be 15 minutes of talk, and then We'll take it from there. We'll tell you how many questions and what questions you have to answer and so on. So the timekeeper, please, if you are ready, you can start now.
Thank you very much. First, before you begin this presentation, you would like to thank our teachers for the support and guidance they've given us throughout this journey, and also Ghana Gas for the fact that they have given us insight into the energy sector, especially the gas industry. We are here to present on product commercialization, and you will start with our project outline. So at the end of the presentation, we are to talk about the introduction up to the ideal governance structure. And we are going to elaborate on each point as presented. As rightly said, you were given a problem, and it says that a gas company receives gas from upstream parties and processes them into gas commodity, including LPG and pentane. In the process, glycol is used to remove water from the natural gas. Now, the products are made up of LPG, pentane, and monoethylene glycol. Gas processing falls under the midstream subsector of the oil and gas value chain. Now, you start with the LPG commercial utilization options and their likely demand centers within Ghana's energy market. LPG can be used for domestic and commercial cooking and heating. In fact, it is a preferred choice when it comes to cooking because it provides cleaner and more efficient alternative as compared to traditional fuel like charcoal and firewood. LPG is preferred because of its quick heating and precise temperature control. Now, it can be used in the industry for combined heat and power, that is for ceramic production as well as glass production. LPG is used as autogas in transportation and also for power generation where it is uneconomical to supply natural gas or lean gas by constructing pipeline. Now for pentane. Pentane is not commercialized yet. That means that to commercialize pentane, you are supposed to perform what is called economic analysis to check the product or the project's viability. This analysis will consider the capital expenditure, operating expenses, the net present value, and also the profitability index. If upon the analysis you realize that it is commercially viable or economically viable, then you can commercialize the pentane. Now, when it is commercialized, we can use pentane for power generation. We can also use pentane as feedstock in the production of polymers and plastic. It can be used for plastic production as well as fertilizer production to minimize the environmental impact caused by flaring. Pentane can be used just like the LPG as autogas for transportation. Now, the waste glycol that is gotten after the processing of the gas can be put to use. Now, to purify the glycol, we have to go through 5 major stages. First, the waste glycol undergoes filtration, whereby the particles in the glycol are removed up to 25 microns. Then, the glycol also contaminates by the presence of oxalic acid and then glycolic acid. So you remove the acid from it by absorption. Then later on, you have the ion exchange. The glycol also become polluted because of the fact that it reacts with divalent ions such as calcium ion and then ion 3 ion. So this is removed using what? A fixed bed media. And finally, distillation to take away the water from the glycol. Now you have a lean glycol. You can have 2 options. One, to turn this lean glycol into an ethanol. One may ask why. Because turning this into an ethanol is in line with the SDG Goal 7, that by 2030, you are going to add 10% ethanol to all petroleum products. Now, when we add ethanol to the LPG and pentane, it is going to increase their burning efficiency and also release less amount of CO2 into the atmosphere. Or you can recycle this waste glycol together with other waste, such as agricultural waste, to get what is called bio-LPG, which is a renewable option. Now, from the diagram, you can see the ones above are the hazardous waste glycol, and the ones below are the transformed ones. So you can have plastic bottles, polyester fiber, recycled antifreeze, and glycol concentrates. Now, it is important to know that when you recycle the glycol and also put the pentane into commercialization, we are killing two birds with one stone, because not only are you protecting the environment, we are also creating jobs to generate income. Now, let's look at the nature of the demand centers and assess the demand and supply balances. The demand centers ranges from domestic homes, commercial centers, automobile stations, and industrial zones. So you can have two types of demand centers. You can have the high demand centers and the low demand centers. And this demarcation or category is influenced by the following factors. 1, population density, urbanization rate, infrastructure development, affordability, distance, and safety issue. So if you take a high demand center, they have high population density, and they also have high urbanization rates due to the intense economic, commercial, and industrial activities in this area. And they also have several infrastructure for LPG. And then again, they can afford to buy the LPG because of high standard of living. The distance to the LPG stations are very short compared to those in the low demand centers. And they have knowledge on how to handle and use LPG. Now for pentane, because it is not commercialized yet, it is underutilized. But you hope that there is a potential for growth if it is able to, if you stabilize it and then market it effectively. Now, to be able to assess the demand and supply balances, you cannot go further than to go to the regulator, which is the NPA. So you went to the NPA website and got a data that is from January to August 2024 to know the supply of LPG across the 16 regions of Ghana. Now, from the data, you realize that Greater Accra is the highest demand of LPG or supply of LPG, followed by Kumasi, that is the Ashanti region, followed by the Brong-Ahafo, and all of these regions are located in the southern part of Ghana, with the least being the northern part of Ghana and then Upper East. Again, a survey was conducted by the Ministry of Energy in 2017 after the atomic incidents. And then from the survey, we had 641 LPG refilling stations in Ghana. And this record still holds in 2022. From the survey, you realize that the one in the legend, the one in the red represents LPG refilling station or outlets. Most of these outlets are located in the southern part of Ghana. And again, with Accra having the highest, followed by Kumasi. And as of 2024, May, we had about 750 LPG outlets in Ghana. So, because the supply is very less, demand, you import more LPG from outside. That is importation. Because the one that you are producing in Ghana here cannot meet the demand of Ghanaians. Now, the pricing method. For LPG, we adopted the import parity pricing as the best pricing mechanism. Why? because import parity pricing ensures that locally produced LPG at the GPP is priced to reflect the global supply and demand dynamics by benchmarking it against the Argus international price, which makes the pricing structure more competitive and fair. Again, it provides transparency, which helps to know the actual value of LPG in the market for risk assessment and also for trading purposes.
You have about 5 minutes more.
Thank you. Then you have net back pricing. The net back pricing is suitable for pentane. Why? Because it is immensely suitable for assessing the price performance efficiency of a product. Then we have various risks and their measures that are linked to the use of LPG and then pentane. We have political risks such as subsidy removal, poor governance, and corruption. This can impact the infrastructure in Ghana and therefore make it hard for those in the rural areas to have access to LPG. You also have economic risk such as inflation can increase the cost of the raw materials and impact their affordability. We have product availability risk. When LPG or pentane become less scarce, it will let Ghanaians revert to the use of charcoal and dead fuel, which has several implications, health implications. Then you have environmental risk. When pentane is released or spilled into the environment due to improper handling, it can cause aquatic and terrestrial ecosystem issue. Then you also have health and safety risk. The potential hazard that is linked to the use of LPG is fire and explosion. Typical example is what happened in 2017 at the atomic junction, leading to large-scale explosion, claiming lives. May their soul rest in peace. Now, to mitigate all this, we can put the measures into 4 categories. 1, there should be stable governance, there should be diversification to other sources of energy, and then implementation of LPG cylinder recirculation model. Moving on, we were able to project the revenue for half a year period, and we had a whooping sum of about $54 million. You use this one, you take the data from the NPA, that is the Argus average price. For LPG, it is found by using the biweekly Argus price. That's the first window and the second window. The first window is 1st to 15th, second window is from 16th to 31st. So to find the Argus price of the first window, it depends on the Argus average of the 12th to 26th of the month, and the second window depends on the 27th of the previous month, and then the 11th of the current month, or current month. Okay, so you went to the NPA website to get all the indicative prices of LPG, and then you got this value. Now one may ask, are the various usage of LPG and pentane optimal? Yes, because LPG is a cleaner and more efficient fuel. It is economically attractive, that is, it has high profit margin. It is also cost effective, especially when it is used for transportation, and it is in line with the SDG Goal 7. You perform environmental impact assessment and realize that LPG and pentane are more efficient, they are cleaner, and they reduce emission, and also protect forest reserve. And if our outfit represents an organization, this will be our ideal governance structure. You have the board of directors, then you have the CEO, then you have the general managers of operation, technical service, legal, and the rest. Then you have the various heads. Okay, so in conclusion, all that you are saying is that LPG is a cleaner and more efficient fuel. It is an energy source for the transition, because it is in line with the SDG goal 3, 5, 7, 13, and then 15. Again, you recommend that glycol should be recycled. Then also you have ethanol blend being essential. The public must be educated on how to use LPG appropriately, and then also commercialize pentane. Again, you put the government to ensure that there is intensity in the rural LPG promotion policy. And finally, LPG also protects our forest reserve. Remember that when the last tree dies, the last man also dies. Thank you very much.
Thank you, TaTU. We'll listen to the other two institutions and then call you back to stage for questions. So you can take your seat, please.
University of Energy and Natural Resources.
UENR, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Please introduce yourselves.
Okay, my name is Gideon Asante, level 400 petroleum engineering student in the University of Energy and Natural Resources.
Okay.
And my name is Bano Kwame Bright from the University of Energy and Natural Resources, a petroleum engineering level 200 student.
Okay, welcome. And the problem statement is the same. You were all given the same problem. So, commercialization, LPG, pentane, and glycol. If you are ready, you can start, please.
Thank you, sir. So this is the project, this is the overview of our project. We will start from the introduction, demand centers, supply and demand balance for LPG, pricing models, risk and mitigations for LPG utilization, revenue profile for LPG utilization, pentane utilization and demand centers for pentane, environmental impacts of LPG and pentane, glycol waste management, governance structure for commercialization, conclusion and references. So LPG is one of the products that is produced from the processing of natural gas. Pentane is also one of the products produced from the processing of natural gas. Glycol is one of the chemical substances which is added to natural gas during the processing of natural gas. So the demand centers for LPG. During our research, we found out that Accra is one of the largest LPG consumer due to the urban lifestyle of Accra. Kumasi is also significant for LPG utilization across households, that's for cooking and heating purposes. Tema, a heavy industrial area in our country, has a high demand for LPG for industrial and residential needs. Secondly, Takoradi, as a result of its proximity to natural gas resources, has a high demand for LPG utilization for cooking and residential purposes. Other smaller towns like Obuasi, Akrokeri have high LPG demand, though limited by infrastructure challenges. Supply and demand balance. The supply of LPG is limited by reduced local production, leading to heavy reliance on imported LPG. Reliance on imports. Import dependency creates vulnerabilities due to price fluctuations and supply disruptions, rising demand. As a result of the industrialization and population growth in the country, there is a high demand for LPG. Hence, the need to implement policies to ensure enough local production of LPG in order to meet our demands. Pricing models for LPG. We proposed a hybrid approach which combines cost-plus pricing with market adjustments and subsidies for low-income consumers. So what is cost-plus pricing mechanism? This mechanism adds a fixed margin to cover production and transport costs, ensuring stability. Market-based pricing adjusts price based on supply-demand dynamics, but may lead to volatility due to the global fluctuations in the provision of LPG. Regulated pricing. Government-controlled prices to ensure affordability, especially in rural areas. Risk and mitigations for LPG. I want to remember us on one of the incidents which happened in Ghana. That's the June 3rd disaster. As a result of the improper handling of petroleum products. This claimed about 200 Ghanaians' lives. Hence, there is the need to mitigate LPG utilization risks by providing leak detection systems and automatic shut-off valves. Transportation risk can be minimized through the use of certified vehicles, emergency kits, and trained drivers. Health risk can be addressed with proper ventilation and safety training for handling LPG. Environmental risk can be managed with regular maintenance and compliance with environmental standards. Revenue profile for LPG for a half year. Factors that were considered during the projection of revenue for LPG were the current market prices for LPG, the demand trends, the distribution capacity, and operational cost. So the formula for calculating the revenue for LPG is given as price per metric ton times the sales volume. So this data was given to us by Ghana Gas in the question. So the amount of LPG produced at the GPP in the 6 months is as follows. So in January, they produced 8,982.23 metric tons. So it runs through. Each month has its own specific LPG production. So during our research, we found out that the price for metric ton of LPG is $750 per metric ton of LPG. So if we are to convert this amount into Ghana cedis, during our research, the conversion factor was $1 cedis is equal to 16.1 Ghana US dollars, meaning that the metric ton of LPG will cost 12,075 Ghana cedis. Hence, multiplying this monetary value by the amount of LPG produced in this month gave us a total of 619,742,089 Ghana cedis. So this is the revenue profile for the LPG utilization in Ghana. Optimality of utilization options. We believe that adopting LPG as a cooking fuel and also as a vehicle fuel, that's auto gas, will impact our economy. It will also have an environmental impact in the sense that the use of LPG as a vehicle fuel will lead to the production of low CO2, thereby helping Ghana to reduce its environmental footprint. Market demand. There is a high demand for LPG, hence the need to put in place measures that will ensure sustainable local production of LPG in order to meet this demand. Pentane utilization and demand centers. We've realized that, or it was given to us that Ghana Gas currently fled about 2,400 meter cube of isopentane at their station. So if we are to convert the monetary value of this isopentane, we realize that about 54,259,200 Ghana cedis is wasted. 200 Ghana cedis US dollars is wasted due to the unutilization of pentane. Hence, we are suggesting that pentane can be used in the renewable energy industry to produce electrical energy. This can be done by the installation of organic Rankine cycle, which will tap low heat energy from geothermal energy, convert it into vapor. This vapor will expand in a turbine to provide mechanical energy, and this mechanical energy will be converted to electrical energy by a generator. Oil and gas industry utilization. Local refineries like the Tema Oil Refinery can use pentane to improve the gasoline volatility for better engine performances, refrigeration and cold storage. Agricultural sectors can use pentane to cool or preserve their products, thereby helping to preserve or helping to expand the life cycle of their products. Construction and insulation. Pentane-based polyurethane foams could be used in demand for installation in energy-efficient buildings, especially among urban developers in Accra and Kumasi. Chemical and industrial manufacturing. Pentane as a solvent may see demand in the production of paints, coatings, adhesives, and pharmaceutical drugs like anesthetic drugs. So the pricing mechanism for pentane, we adopted the cost-plus pricing mechanism because when pentane is produced in the country, the amount that will be paid for the utilization of pentane will not be the same as the amount that will be paid when pentane is imported into the country. So the cost-plus pricing mechanism will ensure efficient pricing mechanism for pentane when used in the country and also when it is imported into the country. So the risk associated with the utilization of pentane include renewable energy. Regulatory delays may slow pentane demand in geothermal and organic Rankine cycles. Hence, the need to strengthen public-private partnerships and offer incentives in order to fast-track projects. Oil and gas industry, we have to secure long-term contracts and diversify pentane applications to manage the price risk. Refrigeration, developing partnerships for rural storage with subsidies and training on efficiency. Construction, promote pentane installation through tax incentives and energy-efficient practices.
You have 5 minutes more.
Thank you. So the monetary value for pentane is given as follows. The revenue generated from the utilization of pentane is given as $11,401.56 US. Therefore, for a half year, the amount of money that will be generated from the utilization of pentane is given as $2,063,682.36 US. Glycol utilization. In the problem statement, we realize that the waste glycol, we have to dispose it or find a way to commercialize it. So in the disposal of waste glycol, we have to ensure that we treat the waste glycol by a process called bioremediation, which in this process, we will employ the use of biodegradable enzymes to break down the waste glycol into a less waste, thereby reducing the impact on the environment when disposed. And also, glycol can be, in cases that we are able to reclaim the glycol, we have to ensure that in cases that we are able to reclaim the glycol, we can use the glycol in many processes. Thus, we can use the glycol in the dehydration process. Governance structure for commercialization. We proposed this governance structure for our industry. We have the board of directors who provides the strategies and oversight for the industry. The executive management, they put in place measures to ensure that the policies bring up by the board of directors is implemented. Advisory controls who provide industry guidance on the utilization of products in the country. Operational teams, stakeholder engagement. There is the need for engagement with stakeholders to educate them on the benefit that the country will enjoy by adopting LPG utilization and pentane, internal controls and compliance and communication channels. So we believe that the utilization of LPG and pentane as fuels for vehicles and cooking and heating purposes, and also in the generation of geothermal energy, will help the country to reduce the carbon emission. Also, there is a need to improve infrastructure and adopt a hybrid pricing and promote public education and awareness program for the community on how to use LPG in our homes. Future impact, enhanced energy access, economic growth, reduced environmental footprint for Ghana will be the benefits that Ghana will enjoy for the utilization of LPG. And we believe that using LPG and pentane will also help us to achieve the SDG Goal 7, which has to do with the utilization of clean and affordable energy, and also achieving the Sustainable Development Goal 13, thus helping to protect the climate and the environment. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, UNER. We'll call you back for questions. So please take your seat.
Thank you, Team LNG. Now we go to TaTU, Tamale Technical University.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, good morning. You are welcome.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm Abdul Majid from Tamale Technical University, offering welding and fabrication, level 200, with my colleague.
Basil, a student of Tamale Technical University, offering Bachelor in Technology, Electrical Engineer, level 200.
All right.
And we are here.
So in 15 minutes' time, just 15 minutes or less, tell us about the commercial aspect of your presentation.
Okay, thank you. We are here to take Ghana gas to Tamale. Please continue.
The market expansion. Analyze the opportunities for expanding the market for pentane and other products beyond their current application, exploring new uses and market development strategies. This presentation will explore the benefits of three chemicals: liquefied petroleum gas, pentane, and glycol in addressing the challenges facing our industries and communities. We'll therefore move into the unique properties, highlighting their role in transition towards a more sustainable and cost-effective future. LPG. LPG is a substitute for ozone layer depleting fuel and its potential as cost-effective fuel source. Pentane is mostly used for power generation in remote areas and industrial facilities, highlighting its benefits for environmental sustainability. We move to glycol, which is used to remove water contents in hydrocarbons and as solvent in paint manufacturing. We move to the commercial utilization. A highly demanded LPG, which is a highly demanded fuel for cooking and auto gas mostly used in automobiles, is a crucial opportunity for Ghana. However, its potential supplies during peak seasons highlight the need for local production and alternative sources. Pentane. Pentane has the ability to be able to improve octane rating and combustion efficiency. Triethylene glycol, which finds a crucial application in drying and viscosity control and enhancing paint stability. We move to the demand for the liquefied petroleum gas, LPG. LPG emerges as a powerful source for the energy sector. It's used to power vehicles and offers a cleaner and a more cost-effective to traditional gasoline and diesel engines, particularly in urban areas battling with air pollution. We also have the LPG stoves, which provide a convenient and an efficient cooking solution, promoting energy and saving and reducing reliance on electricity. LPG, an ideal candidate for expanding infrastructure like hotels, hospitals, and educational institutions. Pentane presents a unique opportunity for industrial heating applications, particularly in specialized engines like the TM2500 gas turbine for backup generation in off-grid areas. Notable sectors like the glass manufacturing, ceramics, and bricks manufacturing with boilers and furnaces utilizes pentane as it offers significant potential, promoting cost-effective and reducing environmental impacts. LPG stands out as a key solvent with significant applications in paint manufacturing, contributing to the stability, drying, and viscosity control in paints. This utilization offers a compelling opportunity to repurpose waste triethylene glycol currently being disposed of as sustainable alternative to traditional solvents in Ghana paint industry. We have the pricing strategies. The pricing strategies, we recommend a pricing strategy that leverages the international August pricing for butane. This benchmark serves as a strong reference point, reflecting global markets, tends to provide a foundation for local adjustments. By fostering markets, these conditions include the transportation cost, the cost involved in transporting the gas, then the distribution cost, and we also speak of the potential subsidies. This pricing method ensures competitive and transparent system, fostering markets, confidence, and attracting investments. The pricing strategy for maintain. Pentane warranties a cost pricing strategy. This strategy involves the careful calculation, production cost, including raw materials processing, transportation, and adding a predetermined markup to arrive at a competitive selling price. This strategy enables a fair return on the investment while remaining competitive in the markets, particularly for sized users who value the unique properties of pentane. In transporting the gas, what are some of the associated risks we'll encounter? Some of these associated risks, we can speak of the market risks, price fluctuations. We can speak of competition from other sources of gas, for diesel. Then we can also speak of the regulatory risks. That's the evolving regulations, complex permitting and license processes. We can also speak of the supply chain risks, limited local production, infrastructure system, safety. We speak of the safety risks, which is the flammability, leakage, environmental contamination like greenhouse gas emissions. So what are some of the mitigation measures we can put in place to be able to minimize this? We speak of the market diversification. We should try to expand the markets beyond the agricultural sector to be able to make sure that people are able to invest, but not just only focus on the agricultural sector. Incentive programs like tax breaks, we should be able to break the taxes. Subsidies to encourage adoption. Investing in storage, transportation infrastructure. Then we should market education. We can all attest to the fact that the reason why we are all seated here is because of Ghana Gas. And so far as we are seated here, it's a way of marketing Ghana Gas. Environmental impacts. LPG is mostly considered as a cleaner fuel compared to gasoline and diesel, which emits lower level of particulate matter, sulfur dioxide, and carbon monoxide. And we all know that these gases, when emitted, it has various effects on the ecosystem. Even on our personal health. When it's being emitted, most people get asthma, a whole lot of respiratory diseases. Then we have pentane. The high volatility and flammability of pentane necessitates careful handling and storage to prevent accidental release that could contribute to air pollution or harm the ecosystem. What are some of the mitigation strategies we can use to replace this? So we have we complement the use of oxygen with pentane.
You have 5 minutes, please.
All right, sir. They complement the use of LPG and pentane with renewable energy source, such as solar, wind, and hydropower, to reduce reliance on fossil fuels. We should also explore and invest in carbon capture and storage technologies. We should explore the development of sustainable production methods, minimizing the environmental impacts to promote responsible resource management. Ideal governance structure. We have our ideal governance structure. We have the board of directors. Then the composition for that, we have the representatives of the key holders, then the government, industry, academia, and civil, to foster the collaboration and informed decision making. Executive and management team. This team will oversee the budgets and ensure efficient execution and initiatives. The composition for that, we have experienced experts in the energy sector, industry and finance, marketing and logistics. Risk management. The community will implement risk management in framework, regular risk assessment, and cost effectiveness of mitigation strategies. So the composition, aspects and risk management, finance and legal affairs, and environmental compliances. Sustainability officer will be responsible for monitoring environmental impacts and promoting responsible policies across all operations. Then we have the responsibilities. Environmental impacts assessments, carbon prints, reduction strategies, and waste management. We have the market development plan. This team will be responsible for conducting market research, foster partnership with key stakeholders, develop innovative strategies for utilizing LPG and pentane and triethylene glycol. Composition. Individuals with experts in market research, business development, and stakeholder engagement. This robust governance will ensure transparency, accountability, and a strong commitment and sustainability in promoting pentane and triethylene glycol in Ghana. The supply data. There are 12 gas processing plants operated by Ghana Gas. It's a key source of pentane. It has a design capacity of 150 million standard cubic feet per day and an operating capacity of 120 million standard cubic feet per day. These plants have tripled its production capacity to 300 million standard cubic feet per day by 2021. The company played a vital role in the processing and marketing of natural gas, including pentane. Key players, we have a Chinese company called the Juan Petroleum Group. Then we have the GE Power and Marinos Energy. GNGC remains committed to enhancing lives through energy solutions, fueling industrial growth, then upholding environmental responsibilities. It is, however, the goal of LPG to be able to utilize LPG to their house, to be able to utilize 50% of LPG to their household by 2030. This will demonstrate a strong commitment to promoting a clean and efficient energy sources. The National Petroleum Authority is rolling out the cylinder recirculation model. This initiative is aimed to enhance the LPG accessibility and promote safer and handling practices, further driving market expansions. Major LPG suppliers. We have the Express Ghana Limited. Then we have the Trinity Oil and the Total Energies Ghana.
Okay, your time is up. Please remain on stage. The rest of the institutions will join you for questions and answer session.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ankude. So whilst at that, please indulge me to give some housekeeping rules. Please, if you don't feel too well at this moment or any time from now, the ambulance team is down there, and so you can resort to help from them. They are down there. The ambulance is there, and so they will provide you some good assistance if you need. Okay, they are in here in the auditorium. Sorry, they are in here in the auditorium. So if you feel you are not too good, just get to them, and then you will be attended to. Besides, the washrooms are beneath this auditorium. When you get out on your left, and then you will find the directions to the place. Thank you.
No, you are going to start. Okay, we are back on stage. This is the time that we have all been waiting for. So you've told us what you have done. So things that we don't understand, you are going to educate us on those things. So questions can be directed at any institution, not in any particular order. We just want explanation on what you've said. So I will start with the Portia will start this whole thing. So to any school. You can start.
Okay, thank you so much. It was a great presentation made by all the teams, so well done. But to test your understanding of what you've presented, we would have to ask you a series of questions and request that you provide appropriate answers to them. So Takrade Technical University, the question to you is, I think in your presentation, you made mention of the fact that LPG is underutilized, or it's not so utilized in the northern parts of Ghana as compared to the southern parts. Am I right? Exactly. So what can be done, or what is currently being done, if you know any philosophy or strategy that is being done, right, to increase the usage of LPG in the north or the northern parts of Ghana? Or if you are not aware of anything, if you could propose any strategy that or philosophy that can be used to improve the usage of LPG in the northern parts of Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There is what is called the Rural LPG Promotion Policy that targets areas like the northern region of Ghana. So what you can say is that the government should intensify that policy. And again, there is also the LPG cylinder recirculation model that aims to achieve 50% of LPG by the end of 2030. So I think the people in the northern part of Ghana should have more insight or knowledge about the importance of the usage of LPG, how efficient it is, and also how cleaner it is compared to the traditional fuel. And then there should be subsidies for them as well, because sometimes affordability becomes a challenge. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you. All right, so the second question is, in one of the the mitigation to the risk you identified, you said stable governance, if I'm right. I would want to know what really you mean by that as a mitigation to the risk you identified. If you could elaborate on stable governance as a solution to the risk identified in the usage of these products. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay, so when you say political risk, it is the likelihood that a political force can have adverse effect on countries' business environments. And so when there is change in governance, sometimes can affect subsidies and also LPG policies. Therefore, having a stable governance will help to prevent all these issues.
Stable governance as in no change of government? Is that what you mean?
It's not necessarily, but then there should be a stable governance in a sense that a point where the policies that are put forward are going to be actually implemented by any government that comes in power. That is stable governance you're talking about.
Okay, all right. That is better. My last question, what pricing methodology would you consider for glycol? Thank you.
Thank you. For glycol, first of all, because it is waste and you want to recycle it, what you can do is what is called pricing methodology, whereby you factor into it all the things that you accounted for when you are operating or processing the glycol. So after that, you take away the cost that was involved in the processing. Then you sell it to the market so that you can get some reasonable rate of return. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So the other panel members also take.
Thank you very much. And like Portia said, the presentations were great. My first question will be a follow-up to TTU with regards to the cost plus methodology. And you say, given the circumstances surrounding glycol, you think cost plus will work. Now, on that, in your purification processes, what kind of cost did you identify in the course of your work?
Okay. Honestly, you didn't maybe factor into it the cost, but you have the various processes. That is, from the waste glycol, you have the filtration. So the cost involved in filtration. Then you also have what is called the absorption, where you take away the glycolic and oxalic acid from it. Then you have what is called the ion exchange. Then you go to the distillation, and you have the lean glycol. So you can also look at the cost that is involved in all these processes before you sell out the glycol.
Great. So in engineering, I hear there's engineering solution for every problem. But once you are looking at a commercial sense, you must always pay attention to the commercial imperative in taking those decisions. So I heard you elaborate on all the issues or the process leading to the final product you intend to have. what would drive that would be the economics. So maybe you may want to avert your mind to that. Then I'll move to TaTU, then I can come back to you on a substantial question. TaTU. The first question that was asked to TaTU, will you want to give your opinion on it with regards to how to ensure high utilization of LPG within the Northern Belt?
Well, thank you. With regards to utilization of LPG in the Northern region, the government will have to enhance education programs and awareness campaigns. Also, tax subsidies is a good initiative if the government is to pay attention to such.
Great. On subsidy, anytime you are making a recommendation for subsidy to be used in order to drive demand, there come with it a cost. So there's always a cost when it comes to subsidy.
Yes.
What do you recommend as a mitigation measure in closing the loop between what the market price is and what the cost of subsidy is?
Well, first, the government will have to pay attention to the health of the people. Especially, the government will have to look what is the outcome of a person using firewood to cook as compared to using LPG. If the government is to look at such issues, I think it is a better initiative to introduce subsidies.
Well, I do not disagree with you. I'm sure most of us here will not disagree with you about the benefit of subsidy. But the question really is, once you are introducing a subsidy, so let's say a price of LPG is, let's say, $600 or 6,000 cedis per MT. And then because of affordability issue, it reduces, or there's a subsidy that brings it down to 3,000 per MT. Obviously, somebody will have to recover or cough up the shortfall of 3,000. So the question really is, what do you recommend in terms of recovering the cost of subsidy?
Well, I'm still emphasizing on education.
Great. I think TaTU, you also made the same kind of, you have the mindset of subsidy in addressing some of these things. How do you intend to pay up the cost of subsidy?
All right, so we're nullifying these subsidies that are probably put in there. We would have to consult some stakeholders, and also we have some governmental regulatory bodies, probably the GNPC and some other bodies that can come in and then kind of bring in, let me say, some amount to probably cover those subsidies that have been subjected or put in there. So the government, let me put it this way, the government actually sometimes undergo these implementation policies through its various governmental institutions. And so those can be catered for by the revenues that are generated from other sectors of the industry.
Great. So just by way of precision, GMPC is not a regulator. They are the NOC, so the National Oil Company, so by precision. You remind me of what one of my professors told me. When it comes to any question of economics, if you don't know, just say stakeholder engagement and you'll find a way to. So I hear you on that. But to you, finally from me, you also intended to apply netback pricing for pentane. How do you intend to do that?
So netback pricing is immensely suitable for assessing the price, performance, efficiency of a product over a period of time. So I think it's the best method for pricing pentane.
I think that was said in your presentation, and I do not disagree. However, how do you intend to do that?
So for netback pricing, we tend to you take away all the costs, transportation costs, processing costs, and other costs that is involved from it to know the market value of the products.
All right. Looks like UNER has been very quiet. So I have a simple question before they come to you. In your presentation, I didn't get any clear utilization for waste glycol. So you can tell us now, what do you intend to use it for?
Okay. For waste glycol, if we find out that we can reduce the amount of waste, then there is a need for commercialization. So in commercializing the waste glycol, we have to treat it to a level that we can recover all the clean glycol from it. So in the treatment process, it has to undergo filtration, distillation. Then in the process of the distillation, we recover the waste glycol. So after recovering it, we can use it in the manufacturing of drugs, such as anesthetic drugs in the health sector. And also, it can be used back into our gas dehydration process.
Okay, these are projections, things that you thought about, but we didn't see that in your presentation. Was it there? Like, because you have to identify a particular use, and that means that you were planning to recover it or treat it before you can use it for that. It comes with cost, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. The other one for you, just because you people are quiet, we heard this also yesterday about geothermal power plant using pentane. Okay, we are still being educated. So can you tell us what function is pentane in such systems?
Okay, for the utilization of pentane in the production of geothermal energy, we found out that Volta region has a high geothermal energy potential. So we adopted the use of organic Rankine cycle, where pentane will be used as a solvent to, as a liquid solvent to, as a fuel to absorb the heat or the geothermal energy. Then whenever it is absorbed, it will then be vaporized into a vapor state, and this vapor will expand in a turbine to provide mechanical energy, where this mechanical energy will be converted to electrical energy by the use of a generator. Hence, production of electrical energy. That's utilizing pentane in that area.
Okay, thank you for now.
All right, so UNER, back to you. A follow-up question to what Doc asked. Are you aware of any country that is using that technology currently? That's the usage of pentane in geothermal power generation. If yes, let us know.
No, please. Go ahead.
All right, so
there is a note to it. For by our research, we realized that the organic Rankine cycle utilizes low heat source, and so we realized that Ghana, since we have potential geothermal in some of our areas like Volta region, employing that system can help us.
Okay. So you are not so sure of how feasible it is, but it's a proposal, right?
Yes, but doing our research, we found out that the cost to be incurred in using oxygen rankine as compared to the money that will be lost when we flare pentane, there is a need to implement that system because we can enjoy some kind of benefits rather than disposing all that high volume of pentane away without commercializing it.
Okay, thank you. Second question, the usage of pentane as a refrigerant.
Yes.
You know propane is widely used as a cooling agent. Why would you go for pentane? What is the justification for using pentane since to us it's more unstable element compared to propane? Thank you.
Okay. We wanted to commercialize the pentane that is flared at Ghana Gas. And if we are to rely on only propane, then there will be a high demand for propane, thereby increasing the price of pentane, whether in this country or abroad. Then why don't we utilize this pentane that we flare at Ghana Gas to cool our farm products, rather than relying solely on propane?
Great. So in your presentation, you made reference to a pricing mechanism known as cost plus.
Yes.
And you even went to the extent of saying that it can be applied on import. Can you explain that?
Will you take it?
Okay, thank you very much. The reason why we said that is that pentane currently, we don't produce pentane in the country. So we depend on imports. And the import is being affected by the global market shifts, in a sense that the cost is not stable in the global market. And so if you don't depend on the cost plus regime, which ensures that a markup is being added to the transportation cost, and then the duties that the customer will have to pay, the supplier will have to pay before importing the product, it will incur much cost on the suppliers, and they might not be interested to engage in the business of importing pentane into the country. But the cost plus pricing ensures that the supplier adds up to the cost so that it will take care of the transportation and then the importation cost, and whilst ensuring profitability, a desirable profitability to the supplier as well. This one will help boost the supplier's interest in the business of importing pentane into the country.
By way of correction, pentane is being produced in Ghana, and I think your whole problem statement was framed around that. So to say it's not being produced in Ghana will be inaccurate. So then the next one is that if you look at the weakness of the net cost pricing mechanism, if you are going to, assuming the import scenario you are painting is anything to go by, if you are going to import pentane to Ghana first, what will be the use for, and what market would that pentane be going to? Then second, do you think an importer sitting in, let's say, Amsterdam or Qatar will accept a mechanism based on a cost plus when they don't live in Ghana? Do you think it's something that they will be open to? So the first one is what markets, what demand center is that imported pentane going to? And the second one is what justification can you give for an importer to accept that an imported pentane to Ghana must be based on cost plus when they do not live here? And then the last one, still on pentane, what is the global reference price for pentane that you mentioned? Okay, so when you use the global reference price, it's high and that and all that. So what is the global reference price? So 3 in 1. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I would like to start with the first one, the industries or where pentane is being utilized major. Currently, most buildings are energy efficient buildings in the sense that they are being insulated. And so in the construction industry, we have pentane being utilized majorly. And we can attest to the fact that construction industry is growing very well in Ghana when we take into consideration how structures are being built currently in cities like Kumasi and Accra. If we are to import pentane, there is the assurance that these companies are going to utilize pentane, of course. We also have a refinery plant in Ghana here. TOR uses pentane in their refining process to boost the volatility of the gasoline in order to ensure its performance in engines. And there is also a project ongoing we also have TaTU, which is also a refining company. And the other projects the government wants to implement to build a new refining company, which will also refine our petroleum products. So I think with all these assurances, it will boost the confidence of people who want to engage themselves in the pentane business in order to get whatever they want to achieve in their business. And then I'll move on to how to let people outside this country to be aware of. From our point of view, I think we making it known to the public how important or how needful the demand or how the demand of pentane usage in Ghana is growing in some of the industries that are fast growing in the country. And I think that if you are able to educate outsiders and also give them vivid information by projecting to them currently the industries we have and also structures which are energy efficient, the number of structures which are energy efficient, and projects to be undertaken which are going to be based on that technology, it will help to boost their desire to come in to this country to also support the utilization of pentane.
And the last one?
Okay, for the last one, if the cost plus pricing mechanism is seen as a weak pricing mechanism, then we will adopt the net back pricing mechanism, and it is the accepted global price for the market of pentane.
Right, so net back obviously sits well. And the reason why I asked the question about the global reference price is that unlike the other products or commodities that are traded on a global stage, this pentane has a very, if you like, regional or national character in terms of the market. So I was a bit surprised when you said there's a global reference. But of course, once there's no reference, the netback become a very good one. What is the size of the market you are looking at? In terms of numbers, so for instance, maybe in the course of your research, you identify that if you are going to bring in pentane from elsewhere into Ghana, and you have provided justification in the type of market you are looking at, do you have an idea about the size of the market? Maybe they can do 10 metric tons or maybe 10 KT per day. Do you know that? If you don't know that, it's fine.
No, please, we don't have an estimated number, but we can just project by basing on our agricultural activities that we have. Most of the population we have in Ghana are farmers.
Okay.
And so if you are to encourage all these farmers and also encourage building contractors who are building and also encourage oil refineries, I think we'll have a very huge number of people utilizing the pentane, but we don't have the fixed number for now.
All right. Thank you so much. So to TaTU, Tamale Technical University, I think in your presentation, you made mention of the fact that LPG faces competition with other fuels. That's diesel, to be specific. Am I right? Could you kindly elaborate on that? And then the second question, too, is about carbon capture and storage as a mitigation to some of the risks you identified in your project. How is that technology done? Thank you. Can you?
Hello.
Do you want me to repeat the question?
Yeah, I understand the question,
Okay.
but the mic was not working. Please repeat the question. I'm sorry.
All right. So probably I'll take it one after the other so that you don't miss out on any. The first question is about the competition that LPG faces with other sources of fuel. And you mentioned diesel, that LPG faces competition with diesel. So I wanted an elaboration on that so that the audience can really know what you were talking about.
Okay. If you are to look into the transportation sector, there are some vehicles that use LPG. But to compare them with vehicles that utilize diesel, you can see that diesel vehicles are a little higher. Or because the infrastructure for LPG is not nationwide. It's only concentrated in some places like Seshi in the western region. But if we could send such infrastructure across to other places in the other places in the country, LPG is cost-effective as compared to diesel, and it's cleaner. Who wouldn't want his garage to be smelling nice? But because the infrastructure is reduced in some places, somebody cannot send his car from Nabrongo to Seshi to and fill. But prefer if it's in Nabrongo. That's why LPG is having competition with such fuels.
In your research, did you come across the primary center or utilization center for LPG?
Primary center?
Yeah, so in terms of the use of LPG, which market uses LPG?
Okay, mostly what a lot of Ghanaians know is LPG is used for cooking.
Okay,
and
so given that the primary market for LPG is for residential use.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. Will you say then that diesel is a competing fuel?
As compared to in residential use?
Yes.
Okay, in residential use, diesel is not a competition fuel as compared to LPG.
Yes, so the analysis must always be that before you conclude that, let's say, a demand center or a fuel source has a competing fuel, then that analysis must be based on its dominant market, okay? Yeah. So assuming you were saying that LPG has a competition from diesel, then that should find expression within the dominant market, not the marginal market, okay? So you need to look at that. Thank you.
All right, so back to my second question, carbon capture and storage, CCS. Yeah. How is that done?
Okay, currently, carbon capture is done in some part of the world. And the way it is done is such that the carbon is captured from the sources where the carbon is emitted. When the carbon is emitted, it is stored and rather used in oil fields to push the remaining oil from the reservoirs out again. That is the utilization of carbon capture.
You said sources. Which sources are you looking at?
Okay, sources. Some simple sources are exhaust from generators like gas turbine generators. Exhaust from that are mostly captured.
All right, thank you.
Okay, TaTU.
Yes, sir.
You talk about trying to encourage government to subsidize the use of LPG in the northern sector.
Yes.
So apart from, let's say, the pricing, are there any other factors that you think discourage people from using LPG?
Well, apart from the pricing, cylinders are heavy. If you could use other materials like polyester, I'm sorry, but I'm not getting the name, but it's poly something. If you could use it in building a silver, that polyfibers in building cylinders, those are strong in containing gases, and it is lighter as compared to metal cylinders.
So you think the weight of the cylinder discourages people from using?
Because dead wood is lighter than metal cylinders. dead wood. So somebody would prefer to go to the bush and carry a dead wood and come and cook than buying a cylinder.
That's very kind of new to everybody, what you are just saying. You know that. But it could be part of the innovation in the whole idea. So that's fine. Because you are actually from Tamale, so maybe you have talked to the people. Did you do something like that?
I wear my shirt the whole week when I got the opportunity.
Okay, TaTU. There was a very innovative part of your presentation too. The only group that said something like you plan to convert the glycol finally to ethanol, which I've never heard. Normally we rather do it the opposite way, but this is an innovation. Do you know the processes involved?
Okay, so you learned it right. Okay, so you can go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay.
So the first step in converting glycol to ethanol is to, first of all, dehydrate the glycol, to take away all water from the glycol. When that happens, it becomes ethylene oxide. Then the next step is to do what is called catalytic hydrogenation, where we add H2 to the ethylene oxide to become an ethanol.
And then also, an add-up to what he is actually saying.
Yeah,
so the basis for coming up with this innovation is actually linked to the concerted effort in shifting from fossil fuels to sustainable sources of energy. So according to the transition plan, it is the plan of government to add 10% ethanol blend to LPG to increase burning efficiency and then reduce emissions. So that was the basis for using this principle. Thank you.
Okay, the last clarification.
Yes, so TaTU. You mentioned that Ghana Gas has partners such as Juanyi. There's a Chinese word you mentioned.
Yes, Junyon.
Junyon.
Yes, a Chinese company, but it's not a partner with Ghana Gas. They are into isopentane manufacturing.
In Ghana?
They can be in Ghana. I've heard of them being in Ghana before, but I don't know currently if they are in Ghana.
Okay, then you said suppliers of LPG. We have Trinity Oil.
Yes, and Express Gas.
And Express Gas.
Yes.
I guess what you are referring to is the downstream, like from there where the customers have an interface.
Yes.
Then you also said the GPP has an operating capacity of 120.
Yes.
That's inaccurate, so we'll probably provide that later.
Okay.
But 120 is inaccurate. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you guys for a very, very good presentation. Somebody has a question for us from TaTU.
Hello. To go back to the question you asked about how the subsidies, I pinpointed education, but I couldn't finish. Well, I'm not an economics student, I'm a welder, but I was thinking something like nurses are sent to other countries to perform, and the government is able to get some money out of it. So what is that different from government education people around LPG and using those people to make its money back as a subsidies?
Yeah, thank you very much. So, Harrison. Okay, the audience wants to, there's a comment from the audience. Oh, okay.
Thank you. The comment you made about using other type of materials for the cylinders, it's a good idea, it's a perfect idea. But for now, we've realized that it's quite expensive. So we need to find out how best we can replace the metallic. We do cylinders, and we use the metal because it's affordable. I mean, it's about 500 Ghana cedis for a 14.5 kg. But when you talk about the fiber, the fiber ones, it's about 2,000. In the average household, it's a bit expensive, so it will be good if we look into that. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam.
All right, so Madam Genevieve Saki is the Managing Director for Ghana Cylinder. And so just for the records. All right, so
you still want to ask questions? It's time.
Okay, so you can come back subsequently. So the rest of you will come down, and then Takoradi Technical University will remain for the presentation on the engineering problem that was given. So the rest of you can come down.
Okay. Okay, thank you for the opportunity. As student engineers, we've been awarded an EPC contract to design and construct an onshore pipeline to supply 10 million standard cubic feet per day of natural gas to a cocoa processing facility 10 kilometers south of an existing regulating and metering station. Now, the pipeline route has been identified to be passing through a densely populated area, and then also it passes through a forest reserve, and then traverses 3 rivers and 5 major highways. Now, our pipeline construction has generally been categorized into the following stages. So first of all, we have our preliminary evaluation or the feasibility studies, and then we have detailed engineering design, the cost estimation, as well as the construction and installation of the pipeline. Now, attached to this presentation, we also have a simulation and system analysis of the system and a 3D modeling of the overall pipeline construction. Now, preliminary evaluation. Now, this is a stage where we conduct a depth study of all relevant and available data. So some of these data we consider include topographical maps, and then this gives us an overview of all areas where the pipeline traverses, or the project area. We have geotechnical or geological survey, which gives us an understanding of the subsurface formation, also giving us the different types of soil formations we are going to encounter in the pipeline construction. We look at the acidity, basicity of the soils or the different terrains. And then also we have hydrology. Since the pipeline is passing through a river section, we have to know the water quality, the depth, and then the width of the water section. That would actually implement or influence the type of crossing technology to be used. We have land use cover and patterns. Now, the land use cover, there are specific areas where activities go on within the community, and for that matter, you have to consider all those factors. We have environmental and social impact assessment. You conduct this in order to know the impact of the project you are constructing on the people within the community. Now, based on the assessment on all these data that has been collated, if a positive prospect is landed in terms of economic and technical aspects, we move on to the detailed engineering design. Where we establish the appropriate pipe material to be used for the construction. We also look at the pipe diameter and thickness to be able to accommodate the projected flow, as well as the design pressure and the stresses or loads that are subjected on the pipeline. We also look at the optimum pipeline routing to be used, and then also we install control devices and monitoring systems for the purposes of maintenance and control of the fluid. We look at some jointing methods or welding methods to be used on the pipeline as well. Now, using the AGA equation, a 4-inch diameter pipeline was calculated. However, a 6-inch diameter pipeline was used for the following reasons. We have future expansion, flow capacity and velocity, pressure drop, and then also we have safety margins, standards, and best practices. Now, a corresponding wall thickness of 0.8 to a 280 inch was obtained, and the design pressure was calculated using the Barlow's formula. And we obtained 2197 psi as the design pressure. Now, after establishing this, we move on to our cost estimation in order to ensure that our initial capital cost is within budget. So our total estimated budget for the project is between the range of $5 million USD to $10 million USD, considering the material cost, construction cost, engineering cost, monitoring, and miscellaneous cost. Now, after our estimation of the cost, we look into procuring all the necessary materials and equipment for the construction activities. From there, we move on to the actual pipeline construction and installation. Now, the first stage here is the right-of-way preparation and construction. However, prior to this stage, we look into obtaining permits and approvals from all regulatory bodies and government agencies. And then also, we look at acquiring the easement of right-of-way access from landowners and also local agencies as well. And then we move on to the right-of-way preparation. We flag the boundaries of all areas where construction activities will take place, and then we clear the place strategically, locating the storage and staging areas where construction equipment will be stored. After these equipment for construction have been made available within the construction area, the next stage, which is the trenching and padding process, begins. So, majority of the pipeline will be constructed using the conventional method, which is the open cut method. So this method basically involves a trench being dug and a pipeline being laid within the trench. Now, after the trench is dug, we go to the storage area, and then pre-coated sections of the pipe are transported to the right-of-way. They are stringed above ground along the dug trench, and then from there, we look at various welding technologies or methodologies that will be used to weld the various sections of the pipeline together. Now, in this presentation, we looked at the flux cord arc welding and then the shielded metal arc welding. So these are the two methods we adopted. Now, with the flux cord arc welding, it uses a continuously fed tubular wire filled with flux. And then with the shielded metal arc welding, it uses a consumable electrode coated in flux and a metal weld or a metal shield to weld and coat the pipe piece. Now, after the welding operations, we need to conduct a test to ensure that the welding is within safety and standards. So the testing of the pipeline will be conducted using the principles of standard code, that is the API 1104. Over here in our construction, we used 3 major non-destructive testing technologies, which is the visual inspection, the ultrasonic testing, and then the radiographic testing. Now, with the visual inspection, a certified engineer visually observed the various wells to see there are no defects on the pipeline. Move on to the ultrasonic testing, where a high-frequency sound wave is used to detect the thickness of the pipe as well as to ensure that there are no defects on the pipeline. And then also we have the radiographic testing, which uses X-rays and gamma rays to create internal images of the pipeline to ensure that there are no defects or flaws, and also to ensure that the pipeline doesn't encounter any concavity. Now, the pipeline will be protected from external corrosion using an anti-corrosion protective method, which is the trilaminate copolymer polyolefin coating, also known as the 3-layer polyethylene coating. Now, in this method, we have the fusion bonded deposit primer, which is the first layer, and then we have the copolymer adhesive as the second layer, and then finally, we have the polyethylene coating as the top coat. Now, it will be supplemented by a cathodic protection due to the fact that we have a corrosive environment within the pipeline area. Now, a sacrificial anode will be used to protect the pipeline surface, and then also an impressed current where a DC source will be directed to the pipeline to protect the pipeline surface from corrosion. Now, from there, we'll install some instrumentation and monitoring systems on the pipeline. We have flow meters, pressure transmitters and sensors, temperature sensors, leak and fire detection systems, and also valves installation. And from here, we then lower our pipeline into the trench using side boom tractors. So the pipeline will be lowered into the trench, and then suitable excavated backfill materials will be used to cover it, and then compacted to prevent subsidence. The next stage, we've now constructed our pipeline and then laid it. We need to conduct a test to ensure that the pipeline can operate to the optimum design pressure without any adverse effect or impact on the environment. We adopted a hydrostatic testing. And in this process, we go through a preparation pressurization. On the preparation, the pipeline surface is cleaned, and then the pressurization, we obtain a water source, and then subject the pipeline to a pressure above its maximum operating pressure. According to ASME B31.8, pipeline traversing through a location of 3, or pipe class location of 3 or 4, should be subjected to a pressure of 1.4 times their design pressure for a period of at least 8 to 24 hours. So after this is conducted, and then we realize that there are no defects or any other adverse or defect on the pipeline, we then bring out the water, and then we clean the pipe and then purge.
You have 5 minutes more, please.
All right. So we clean the pipe and then we purge it. And then finally, we conduct our commissioning. So the commissioning stage, that is where we conduct our final inspection, and then we introduce the fluid gradually into the pipeline. Now, there were special sections in our construction, and these special sections include the highways and then the rivers. Now, the river section, we encountered a deep section and then a shallow section. So 2 shallow sections and then 1 deep section. So for the deep section and then the highway section, we adopted the horizontal directional drilling. And this involves drilling a pilot hole, and then we steer the drill head within the trajectory, and then we rim, or we do a rimming of the conducted bore so that it meets the diameter of the pipeline. And then we pull the pipeline through, and finally, we demobilize all instruments and then restore the site to its previous state. Now, on the river section, we use horizontal directional drilling for the deep river section, and then the open cut or isolated open trench for the shallow river section. So with this, we have site preparation as well. We clear the area where we are going to do our construction, install all necessary equipment, and then we install coffer dams at the upstream and downstream section of the river to obtain a clear path where our trench will then be dug, and then lay our pipeline, and then finally we remove the coffer dams for the river to flow as it were, and then finally we do a site restoration and stabilization. Now, afterwards, we conducted a simulation and system analysis of our pipeline. And so we did a simulation for the flow efficiency, the wall thickness, and the average pressure. So this was conducted for a time period of 1 hour, and after that period, we realized that the flow efficiency was 100% and was flowing at the end user requirement specification of 10 million mmSCFD. And then also the pipe wall thickness. We realized that there were no significant changes in the pipe wall thickness as a result of design pressure or pressure subjection and stresses. And then finally, the average pressure was within the specified range, which was calculated as well. Now, we also did a 3D modeling of our entire pipeline construction. So now join me as I take you through the various stages we encountered in the pipeline construction. So this was done using the Autodesk Inventor. And then, so these are the various terrains the pipeline traverses. The blue section is actually the river section. And then we have the highway sections on top as well. So, and then also we have valves, and then we have flow meters and sensors that were installed on the pipeline. And then we have the densely populated area as well, all within the same system. Now, finally, we designed a solar-powered monitoring device. Now, this is an innovative technology we are trying to install on the pipeline to pick data on the various parameters of the flowing fluid. So now we need to ensure that the pipelines or the flowing fluid specification meet the end user requirement. So this is a solar-powered monitoring device which will pick the various parameters and ensure that they are within the limit we need. So they will be installed at the distance of 4 kilometers apart. And then also, in the construction of this device, we used a solar panel, a battery, and then we have a communication module, and then we have sensors and transmitters installed as well. So the solar panel will trap energy from the sunlight, which will be used to power the system, and then also the batteries would have to be installed or would have to be powered or energized by the energy that is trapped from the sunlight. Now, there should be a communication between the central control room or the human-machine interface and this particular module we've created. So we use sensors and transmitters to ensure that the flow parameters are transferred to the central control room to ensure that they meet the end user's requirement. And then also we have, all right, so that is it. We have sensors and batteries that are used to energize the system. So thank you.
Thank you so much, TaTU, for such a refreshing presentation. So the next institution, please.
University of Energy and Natural Resources.
All right. Thank you very much for the opportunity. We are Team LNG, and we are undertaking a pipeline construction.
Okay, it's okay. 15 minutes. You tell us all about your engineering design.
Okay, thank you very much. We are Team LNG, as I said earlier, and we are undertaking a pipeline construction, which will supply natural gas to a gas processing plant at Keda, and that's the Keda cocoa processing plant. And this cocoa processing plant is within the Western Power Enclave in Ghana. The pipeline is 10 kilometers offshore pipeline, and this is the presentation outline that we've come out with. We have the pipeline construction process project overview, process description, lean gas metering package, safety shutdown system, environmental impact assessment, pipeline route and barrier depth, results from the simulation model, our conclusion and references. This is the project overview. So the project includes a detailed engineering, procurement, construction, and commissioning, which will involve we coming out with a pipeline that is crossing 3 rivers, 5 highways, and also a forest. And the pipeline is designed to have a flow capacity of 30 million standard cubic feet per day with a diameter of 12 inches. These are the procedures we went through in coming out with. The procedures we'll go through if we are awarded a contract to come out with a pipeline that will supply natural gas to Keda Cocoa Processing Plant. Number one is the survey and staking. This stage helps us to map the route of the selected terrain or our pipeline routes, and then we stake it in order to establish the exact location of our pipeline. After that, we do tree clearing and grading, whereby we level the ground. Even though it is a flat terrain, but they are considering nature, you realize that you can see a flat terrain, but then it wouldn't be that flat or as smooth as we want. So we have to grade it, and then we consider what we call the right-of-way topsoil stripping. This is done in order to take the topsoil that we are coming to degrade. We will not degrade it, but rather we will keep it, so that after we are done with our pipeline construction, we will bring it back in order to restore the surface that we distracted and plant trees to ensure that that surface regains its natural properties. We have the restaking center line of trench. This step is being done in order to ensure that after we are done with the tree clearing, we still have the center line of our pipeline being faced. We have padding trench bottom. This is done in order to prevent the pipeline from strong abrasions when we are lowering the pipeline to the trench. So that's the padding, the bottom of the trench. We have the stringing and field bending. After we are done with the padding, we string the pipeline along the roots of the pipe. And that when we say the stringing is about laying the pipes along the trench. And then after we are done with that, we bend where necessary. We bend where necessary, and then we weld. After welding, we do X-ray inspection in order to ensure the integrity of our welding. Sometimes you might finish welding and you realize that there are leakages in the welding. So we do the X-ray inspection in order to ensure that there is no leakage, and then after that we coat it, because initially the pipeline wasn't together, but because we have joined them together, you have to ensure that that portion of the pipeline is also coated in order to prevent corrosion. After that, we lower the pipeline into the trench. But before we cover it, we do what we call as-built survey. This is done for documentation and for future references. After you are done, you bury the pipeline and we will restore it, the terrain back to its natural property. So in doing that, a time will come that if you don't do the as-built survey, you realize that you might not know the exact location where you bury your pipeline. So this is done using GPS. And so we are able to find out the exact location we buried our pipeline for future references. And with that, we do our padding, backfilling, and grading. This is done by ensuring that our pipeline is finally covered. After we are done, we do what we call the hydrostatic testing, and then finally we tie into the network. The hydrostatic testing involves using a pressurized water to allow it flow through the pipeline at a very high pressure. The high pressure in the sense that it must be beyond the pressure of the pipeline, the design pressure of the pipeline, so that any leakage along the pipeline will fail at that pressure, and then that leakage will be mended before we cover it up. So when we are done with everything, we do the topsoil before we tie it into the network. So when we are done, we do the topsoil replacement and restoration, where we kept the topsoil to ensure that the surface that we extracted regains its fertility. We come to the specification. These are the dimensions and standards in ensuring safety of our pipeline. We have the pipe thickness to be 5.68 millimeters, but this thickness is the thickness that we are using to construct our pipeline. However, there are terrains that we are going to encounter along the way, which might request that we add up to the thickness of the pipeline in order to ensure that the stresses that will be exerted on the pipeline might not lead to situations like the upheaval buckling, which might rupture the pipeline in its operation and might result downtime. We have the pipeline diameter to be 12, the pipeline length 10 kilometers. The product we are to transport is lingers, and we have the coating operation to be 3-layer external coating, and we have the coating system is what we call the 3-layer polypropylene, and we have the timing service to be 50 years. Process description. We have the safety system. The safety system consists of equipment which detects risks and execute mitigations to it. So when it happens like that, it protects the personnel on board who are working on board from hazards or from risks. And then again, it protects the environment from hazards while ensuring that the pipeline integrity and stability is also safe. That is why we have this equipment being installed. We have the control system. This system is used to measure the operational parameters and ensure that they are within range. So when we measure these operational parameters to ensure that they are within range, it increases our operations. That's optimal performance of our pipeline. We have the metering package. This metering package ensures the qualitative and then the qualitative and quantitative measurements of our pipeline. If I say qualitative too, it means that the constituent that we are transporting, is it actually having what it's supposed to have, the percentage? Is it low or is beyond? And when I talk about the quantitative, I'm talking about the volume that we are supplying. Is it up to or not? So we have the lean gas metering package consisting of the flow meter. So it is skid mounted. And then we have ladders and platforms in order to ensure operational accessibility. In case you want to do any maintenance, you can access it. And then we have the pressure control valve. In this case, we prefer glow valve to be used as our pressure control valve. And the glow valve is having the design pressure of 85 bar design. And then the inlet pressure is 75 bars. And of course, the outlet pressure that we want, because we were being contracted to supply gas at 10 bars. So the outlet pressure of our pressure control valve, which is the glow valve, must have an outlet pressure of 10 bars in order to regulate the pressure to that standard. So the outlet pressure is designed to have 10 bars. And the temperature specification, we have the design temperature to be 30 degrees Celsius. And then the inlet temperature is 27 degrees Celsius. And we ensure that the outlet is also meeting the contractor specification, which is 25 degrees Celsius. We have the cathodic protection system. This system, every pipeline engineer is interested in ensuring that the pipeline installed is not prone to corrosion. So we are employing the cathodic protection system to ensure that the pipeline is being prevented from corrosion. Then again, the 3-layer external coating. The 3-layer external coating consists of 3 layers. The first layer is what we call the epoxy layer. That's the fusion-based epoxy, which is the base layer. And the base layer, what it does is that it protects the pipeline. Basically, that is the primary function of it from corrosion. And we have an intermediate layer, which serves as an adhesive layer to bond the first layer and the third layer, which is the polypropylene layer. And what the polypropylene layer does is that it ensures that the pipeline is being protected and it is highly resistive to environmental factors such as high temperature and then again chemical. In case the pipeline is being buried in water and the water is being contaminated with chemicals, it ensures that the pipeline integrity is still maintained and then operations continue. So the cathodic protection involves we installing a metal which is serving as a cathode, an anode to an electrochemical system. So when we do that, we are going to connect the anode, which is the sacrificial metal, via cables to the pipeline metal or the pipeline that we are protecting, and that will serve as the cathode of our electrochemical system here. So when this one corrodes, which is the anodic metal corrodes, it releases electrons, and that electrons passes through the cables and then transfer to the surface of the pipeline to drive away any corrosion current that might cause corrosion to the pipeline.
You have 5 minutes.
Safety shutdown system. The safety shutdown system ensures that there is a stoppage of operation whenever there is safety. And we have environmental impact assessment. So we took into consideration environmental impact assessment by ensuring that the air quality is being protected, water resources are being also managed, ensure that is, we use the closed loop regeneration system for treating wastewater. And then we have the soil and land use. So when we were discussing, we took into consideration ensuring that the terrain that we constructed the pipeline is not being depleted and left, but then we have restored it back to its natural properties. We have the pipeline route and depth barrier. Now, for this slide, I'll talk about the minimum cover from the top of pipeline, but I'll use the diagram to explain how the pipeline has been moved from one place to another. So when we check with the minimum cover from the top of the pipeline, we have the dry line to be 0.8 meters, and we have agricultural activities to be 1.2, roadways to be 1.2, swampy areas to be 1.2, and river 2 to be 1.2. These values weren't just taken from ED. We follow the standard code, which is the ASMEB 31.8, which gives guidelines to the constructions of transmission and then distribution pipelines. But when we check the roadways and swampy and river areas, we have special codes under that code that we consider. So for roadways, we consider the API 1102, and for river and then swampy area, we consider the API 1111 code. Right-of-way confirmation. So in confirming our right-of-way, we ensure practicability, and we ensure that the pipeline is straight as possible, and we ensure ease of construction and also ensure structural stability of the selected terrain. We minimize proximity of the pipeline to settlement too as well. So this is the result from the simulation model pipeline route. So the pipeline starts from secondary regulating and metering station, then it will go to incumbent, and the distance between them is 2.2. So from the incumbent, it will move to secondary road, and the distance is 2.5. From secondary road, it will move to Nana to Field Road, and the distance from there is 2.0. And from Nana to Field Road, it will move to Abuazi Road, and the distance is 2.1. And from Abuazi Road, it will now terminate at the cocoa processing plant that we are supplying the gas to, and the distance is 1.2 kilometers. Now we have the phase diagram of our lean gas. The red line is the dew point, and then the green line is the bubble point. So we are interested as operators to design the pipeline to ensure that the component is always kept after or beyond temperature, beyond the red line, which is the dew point line, to ensure that the gas exists as dry gas always. Now we have cost estimates. Now we considered the CAPEX which involve infrastructure construction costs. So what it means is that the materials we bought, the labor and excavation, and that cost is estimated to be $500,000 to $1 million per kilometer. So constructing 10 kilometers, we have the amount to rise to $5 to $10 million. The operational expenditure, which is the OPEX, so the labor cost involves the salaries for plant operators, pipeline technicians, environmental officers, and also safety management, and it's estimated from $1 to $2 million per year. And this is the wages and benefits that we pay to our workers. Maintenance costs, which is the regular inspection, cleaning, pigging. Cleaning is done with pigging in our case, and we repair of the pipeline, and that one is estimated to be $500,000 to $1 million per year. So in our conclusion, we say that our pipeline is going to support infrastructural growth in Ghana while supporting the cocoa processing industry. And our technological integration is in the sense that we incorporated high engineering techniques and then again safety system to ensure efficient operation. And in contributing to sustainable development, we have supply of energy in order to balance energy needs with environmental and social responsibility by ensuring that we contribute to the rate at which we consume electricity by depending on only hydro source, but then the use of natural gas to supply energy or power to the gas processing plant, whereby they are going to use the natural gas to generate the cocoa processing plant, whereby they are going to use the natural gas to generate electricity for their consumption or for their processing. Thank you very much. And this is our references from University of Energy.
Thank you, UNER. So, TaTU.
Tamale Technical University. Tim Butane.
The power to drive.
Okay, welcome back. I see you have brought a new guy on stage. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, please. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yusuf Abdul Malik, a level 300 student from Tamale Technical University from the automotive department.
Okay, so in 15 minutes, tell us all about your engineering design.
It's not showing. Okay. The title of my presentation is From Bean to Bar. I'm building a sustainable gas pipeline to deliver clean energy to Ghana's cocoa processing industry. Introduction. Due to natural gas affordability and reliability and low carbon emission, according to OMER 2008, it is important for energy-intensive industry like cocoa processing, where milling and drying requires significant energy. Ghana Gas has tasked us to design and construct a 10-kilometer gas pipeline. This will ensure a sustainable energy solution for Ghana cocoa processing, also contributing to Ghana's economic growth and environmental responsibility. Purpose of the study, we will prioritize community safety and environmental preservation. To achieve this, we will integrate a robust and efficient pipeline system, ensuring the safe handling and transportation of natural gas and minimizing environmental impact by promoting sustainable practices. This is an example of a pipeline passing through under a highway. It won't be shallow, neither will it be deeper because of external forces. Can you explain this image?
Okay, we will achieve this by integrating a robust and efficient pipeline system, ensuring the system handling and transportation of natural gas, minimize environmental impact, and promote sustainable practices.
The objectives of this study is to conduct a steady-state hydraulic analysis to ensure efficient delivery of gas at a required temperature and pressure, evaluating potential impact and minimizing environmental risk. Pipeline route, the design will account for the effect of hydraulic characteristics like temperature and pressure variation. The route crosses highways, rivers, and a forest reserve, and this requires specialized engineering solution to maintain integrity and safeguard pipeline system. The pipeline traverses a region with minimal relief, that is the forest reserve crossing, which requires careful attention. The pipeline integrity, and to ensure the safeness of this pipeline, we will apply established industry standards such as the API RP 1102, which provide guidance for pipeline crossing, focusing on safety, corrosion prevention, and damage mitigation, according to Josh et al. Also, API 1110 is a pressure testing standard which will ensure the pipeline integrity and safe operation before commissioning is performed, while implementing automatic control valves and pressure relief devices, as according to ASME B31D Class 4, ANSI and API standard to regulate pressure, temperature, and flow rate. These are stresses that will be external, like stresses that will be applying on the pipeline. Maximum allowable operating pressure, hoop stresses, and the rest, and these are standard values. Natural gas properties such as gas gravity, compressibility factor, and gas density are also as stated, and I will defend it later. Steady state hydraulic analysis is crucial for this design as it provides insight on how a gas flows under a normal unchanging conditions. To analyze, we will use an empirical flow equation, which is the general flow equation and Bernoulli's equation, plus the rest. Various equations used will be Weymouth, Panhandle A, Panhandle B, Colebrook-White, and HEA equation, and all will involve transmission factors. If you are to look at these equations, all the alphabet in these equations, the meaning are as follows. And Weymouth and Panhandle A, B equation will be used in calculating for the sizing of the pipe, whilst Colebrook equation will be used in calculating for pressure drops of the pipe. HEF equations are important for calculating an accurate flow rate within the pipe. Gas gravity, as it is proven, we had 0.62 and compressibility factor was 0.010. Panhandle A equation gave us a diameter of 17.6 inches, and Panhandle B gave us a diameter of 11.26 inches. HEA equation gave us, by inputting a transmission factor from turbulent flow, partial turbulent flow, and Van Korman smooth pipe transmission factor, we chose the lower value of the HEA transmission factor, which is 17.07, and input it in the general flow equation. That we had a diameter of 12.39 inches, and that is the general flow equation. Weymouth equation gave us a diameter of 12.41 inches, and Colebrook-White equation gave us 12.27 inches. Summary of the minimum inside diameter required was, from HEA and Colebrook-White, you can see that 12.41 inches to 12.27 inches is the estimated nominal diameter of the pipeline. Whilst Panhandle A and 17 gave us, Panhandle A gave us a diameter of 17.96 inches, Panhandle B gave us a diameter of 11.26 inches. This is a type of a pressure safety valve at a residential area. As our pipe will be transversing through a densely populated area, this is a safety valve, pay attention to. A look at project expenses are a cost of an inch diameter mile of a pipeline costs $15,000, and approximately a 10-kilometer mile is 6.2. Estimated cost of the whole 10 kilometer will be $1.1 million. Pipe material cost for an MPS 12, because the HEA equation and the Colebrook-White equation gave us a nominal diameter of 12 inches. A nominal diameter of 12 inches. We use NPS 12 as an estimate pipe diameter. Other project costs will include facility construction, main valve station, which includes a pig launcher and receiver, SCADA telecommunications, environmental permitting, engineering and construction, plus installation and material costs gave us a total project cost of $72.18 million. This is a schematic pipeline design from Plant 1 to Plant 2. Options and assumptions and consideration are We will use other alternative materials like polyethylene and stainless steel to maintain corrosion resistance and potentially cost reduction. Also, pigging system will enhance efficiency and safety within this pipeline. Key assumptions are gas composition will remain constant, flow rate and pressure will be under steady state conditions. Major consideration are safety will be prioritized throughout all project phase because it is our first value. Minimizing environmental impact through route selection, erosion control and regulatory compliance is also crucial. Open collaboration with local communities and stakeholders will be essential. Also, prioritizing acquiring all necessary permitting and approval. Conclusion, while pipeline projects offer economic benefits, we should keep in mind it has an impact on sensitive ecosystems, such as habitat destruction, water contamination, and biodiversity. Implementing a comprehensive environmental assessment like minimizing project footprints and reforestation programs will improve water quality and also contribute to the economic benefit and ecological integrity of Ghana. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tamale Technical University. Please remain on stage. The rest will join you for question session.
All right, so thank you. UNER and Takrady Technical University will join Tamale upstage for the question session.
No problem. No problem. No problem.
Okay, so you can take your seats. All right, we are ready for questions again. So, as usual, we'll start from the lady.
All right, thank you so much, and well done to all the teams from Takrady Technical University, UNER, and then Tamale Technical University, TaTU. So to begin with, I want to find out from Takrady Technical University, you considered the AGA equation in the calculation of your flow, right? Your flow inputs. Am I right? Okay, but the parameters that went into that calculation was not shown during your presentation. Could you let us know what goes into the parameters that goes into the AGA equation calculation for flow? Thank you.
All right, so thank you very much for the question. So when calculating using the AGA equation, we consider the base temperature, the base pressure, and then also we look at the upstream and downstream pressures, which is the inlet and then the outlet of the pipeline. And then also we look at the gas gravity, the length of the pipeline, then we look at the average temperature, and then the compressibility. In some instances, the elevations are considered but specific to this project. We were categorically told to avoid elevation, which is a zero elevation. obviously. And then also we have the diameter in there as well. And then the operating roughness. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So just a comment on this. I think you excluded phase envelope diagrams in your, I think it's a useful tool, and maybe probably later you may have to consider it, right? So the next question is, in your design or in your technique for the pipeline construction, did you consider the location class in the densely populated zone?
Yes, please.
Could you elaborate on that, please?
This class location, three. Yeah. All right, so we have a factor used in calculating the pipe wall thickness, which is the design factor, and that is mostly dependent on the class location. And so in this case, we consider the class location of 3. And so for a class location of 3, we use a design factor of 0.4. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. My last question, based on your 3D pipeline model, do you intend to have a clean, to clean the pipe in the future?
Yes, please, that is possible.
Okay. All right.
Okay, TaTU, let me follow up briefly, then we'll move to the next institutions. I didn't see the thickness, or you didn't say it. So what was the thickness of the pipe?
Please, I mentioned it. It was 0.280 inches, please.
0.280 inches. Okay. The pressure drop used in that calculation, because you use the AGA equation. So
in calculating the pipe wall thickness,
the diameter and then eventually the thickness, what was the pressure drop? What are you doing from 75 bar gauge to 10?
Okay, so the pressure drop that we are expecting is originally 65 bar. That is the pressure drop we are expecting in order to get the end user requirement of 10 bar gauge.
You think that will give you a diameter of 6 inches?
Yes, please. So by using the diameter of 6 inches, actually we would not necessarily get that outlet pressure, and so we installed pressure reducers on the line, which would reduce the pressure, and then we have pressure sensors as well, which will monitor the pressure parameters to ensure that.
No, that's fine. You said you want to install pressure reducers.
Yes, please.
So where on the line do you want to put them?
Okay, so the pressure reducers could be installed about 4 to 5 kilometers after the RMS.
Is that the normal practice?
Well, we might have to consider the adverse or the impact of the various terrains or the different location where the pipeline traverses as well in this calculation. However, when we install the pressure reducers somewhere along that line, we can perfectly monitor the parameters by installing sensors after the pressure reducers to ensure that the parameter meets that specification even before it is delivered.
Okay, for our information, when you put a pressure reducer, the temperature of the gas falls immediately, isn't it?
So in case the temperature falls correspondingly with that, we might have to employ the use of heaters at the outlet end to raise the temperature to the.
So did you put any heater in your cost analysis?
Yes, please. We considered that.
I didn't see that.
Well, in our cost analysis, we summed everything up into 5 major sections, but there were subs within as well.
At the end of your presentation, you introduced an innovative system of using a solar-controlled monitoring system.
Yes,
so apart from the power source, how different is that from the other monitoring systems that we have been using?
All right, so the ideology behind this was that by leveraging the use of solar-powered monitoring systems. And then the pipeline industry would improve significantly in terms of pipeline safety, efficiency, and also environmental sustainability, since it is a renewable source of energy. And then also this could possibly, since it has data loggers which keep consistent readings of all the parameters, it could potentially predict operational inefficiencies based on previous data before any breakdown occurs. And this would kind of ensure maintenance at the appropriate time or without operational costs incurred due to breakdown or any other effect.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Can you tell us the software you use for your efficiency analysis?
Okay, so we use the Autodesk Inventor.
Autodesk Inventor.
Yes, please.
For pipeline efficiency?
No, please. That was the Open Modelica for the pipeline efficiency. However, in developing the innovative aspect, which is the solar-powered monitoring system, we use the Autodesk Inventor.
Okay, we'll come back to you, TaTU. UNER, you also determined the pipeline diameter to be 12 inches. Am I right?
Yes.
What do you think about that 12 inches? What is the outlet, the velocity at the outlet?
Okay, thank you very much. According to the specification that were given to us, we were to follow the pipeline diameter to be 12 inches. And the reason why we went with the 12 inches but we didn't add any allowance or reduce it was because we want to achieve a very significant pressure drop. And in this case, if we close the pipeline too much, it will exert more pressure. And so when it happens like that, the flow of the 10 mmSFD contracted volume gas through the pipeline will increase, or let's say the volumetric flow will be very higher. So we might not be able to achieve the 10 bar at the inlet or at the outlet of our pipeline. So we decided to go by the 12 mmSFD, which we know that even during our operation, given an allowance, we can still ensure that the pipeline has been flowed through the pipeline, the gas has been flowed through our pipeline, and then again, ensure the gate valve that we also installed is not depleted by the high rate of fluid that will flow through as a result of a decrease in diameter or something like that. So we ensured we kept the 12 for operational optimability or performance of our pipeline.
Did you try to determine the flow velocity at both ends of the pipe?
I tried to determine the flow velocity of the fluid itself, and then considering the 10 mmSFD, I got to realize that the flow velocity will be around 147 feet per second, and this gives a turbulent flow. This gives a very high turbulent flow. So as a result of this, if you are to decrease the pressure harder, it means that we are increasing a highly turbulent flow again. But here we want to maintain it there so that we can control it to achieve our contractor pressure and temperature.
Well, not very clear, but I also have you listed the thickness of the pipe to be 5.8 millimeters. 5.6 millimeters. Just a caution here. If you are listing the diameter in a certain type of unit, you also need to put the thickness in the same type of unit. Then we know exactly what we are talking about.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll come back to you, Nel, so you can...
Yes, I have a general question for all schools, and I'll start with TaTU. Just for my education, we've heard this morning face envelope. Could you kindly elaborate on that, what it means and what is its significance in all the discussion in terms of the construction?
So this one, whoever is ready can start.
Yes.
Okay. So the phase envelope is a diagram which shows pressures and temperatures at which we can have a phase change of a substance or of a matter. So the phase change, its significance in pipeline engineering, especially gas transportation, is that when I was presenting, I made mention of bubble point and dew point line. Whenever you are operating at the pressure and at the temperature at the dew point line or closer to the dew point line, there is a possibility that condensation will happen. And when that happens, that water droplets will combine with hydrocarbons such as the methane that you are transporting, which is the main component of the lean gas. And we also have traces of propane and ethane too as well in the lean gas. This water will combine with it to form hydrates, and that will block the flow of fluid through the pipeline. And then again, it helps us to predict. It gives us the knowledge to predict flow assurance through the pipeline, in a sense that it gives us the knowledge to predict and manage the behavior of flow through the pipeline. So when we are able to manage that, it ensures that our operation becomes so smooth, and then we reduce downtime too as well. Thank you very much.
Yes, proceed.
All right, so from our end, the phase envelope is actually used to analyze a multi-component system at specific temperature and pressure conditions. At what temperature and pressure the fluid could exist as a gas, a liquid. And in our system, or in this case study, we were we were told to consider a steady state. And we analyzed the system as a single phase where the gas is flowing in the gas phase. And since we've already established that fact, we realized that there wasn't the need for us to resort to the phase envelope. That was our reason for not including the phase envelope. Thank you.
Okay, there's a follow-up on that. So because you have decided to install a pressure reduction system somewhere, so the pressure-temperature combinations are going to change immediately after the valve, isn't it? So from what UENR just said, then it's possible that the gas can be transformed into a liquid if you look at it on the phase diagram. I want you to respond. So can you respond to that and inform, or let's say educate the public on that?
Okay, so since it was stated it is a steady state flow, we assumed the any condensations in there can be characterized as an average mean value or a negligible value, which wouldn't necessarily have a significant impact on the flow efficiency.
But looking at the drastic pressure drops, don't you think that would have impact? Do you get it? Pressure relates to temperatures, and therefore there's the possibility of condensation, right, in the system. So whether it's single phase or double phase, because of that drastic reduction in pressure, you should be looking at the possibility of condensation, right? And okay, so hydrates are likely to form. That's what you need to know. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
TaTU, are you ready to comment on that? Thank you.
Hello. Our comment about phase envelope is where water evaporates into gaseous or gas condenses into water, but we did not pay much consideration in our design.
Okay, great. How do you intend, and still with TaTU, how do you intend to convince the regulator to give you permit to traverse a pipeline through a forest reserved? Assuming the forest in the case study is one that is reserved.
A pipeline passing through every terrain has some compliance you need to adhere to. And by proving that by proving to reduce your project footprint.
Okay. To TaTU. Obviously, your pipeline will also be passing through a densely populated area. How do you intend to achieve community support for implementation of the project?
Okay, so we can talk of easement of right-of-way access from landowners.
Yes. And also public education to ensure safety.
Okay, so with the densely populated area, we decided to kind of go into a legal agreement and then also compensate those that would be affected within the densely populated area, and then also conduct an awareness or an education on the safety procedures or protocols that will be employed in constructing the pipeline within that section.
Right. I did not hear you speak about your approach of your pipeline traversing through a river, whether the shallow end or the deep water end. So if you could walk us through what you're thinking or what your simulation showed in the course of your exercise.
Okay, thank you very much. Because of that, I couldn't make mention of the methods that we are going to use to do the trenching. There are areas that we can't do trenching, and that place we call it the trenchless drilling, whereby we use specialized drilling rigs to undertake a process we call horizontal directional drilling. So this is what we are going to employ even on the highways, that we are able to create a tunnel. Instead of distracting the surface, we create a hole through the structure, the soil structure, whilst ensuring that there's stability. The reason why we do that is that when we get to deep waters, the deep waters, we have to go deeper. So we can get a structure which can support the drilling process. But at the surface, we still use the conventional method. The reason is that if you try to use the horizontal directional drilling method, that measure has to be, you have to consider the structural stability of the terrain or the structure to support the integrity and the stability of the pipeline. So in the shallow waters, we use the conventional method, but in deep waters, we use the HDD, which is the horizontal directional drilling technique.
You just spoke about all the nice things that have to be done to go under the river. In the model you showed us, I didn't see any river.
Thank you very much. In the model, there is a river, but we use pipes to generate the pipeline route. So when you try to bring it on the slides, it reduces the clarity of the rivers which are crossing. So when we take into consideration the distance between secondary regulating and metering station and Inkaban, there is a river crossing right after the secondary regulating and metering station before you get to Inkaban. When you are moving from Inkaban to the secondary road, when you are getting closer to the secondary road, that river, this side branches to that side, so it crosses the pipeline to other place. And from the secondary road, moving to the Nanatufi road, we have another river to crossing. But because of we transferring the image into our slides, it didn't make it so clear.
Okay, thank you.
Last question to TaTU. What is EPC?
CPC.
EPC. Or EPC contract?
It's environmental permitting something. I've forgotten the meaning. It's environmental.
So any of the other contestants can let us know what an EPC contract is, because it was part of your question.
Okay. Thank you very much. So an EPC construction is a construction which involves the employment of engineering, procurement, and construction approach to execute that construction project.
All right, thank you very much. Back to you, Ne. Just a simple question. I think you said you would achieve your reduction in your pressure using a particular valve. Could you let us know what valve that is and how do you intend to achieve that? The drop in pressure. Yeah.
Thank you very much. We use glow valve. Somebody will say that butterfly valve can also regulate pressure, and that is very true. But considering the pipeline that we are operating, we need a very significant pressure drop. So we consider the glow valve because when pressure is dropping, it means that the volumetric flow rate is also dropping. And then butterfly valve can't be so efficient in low volumetric flow rate. But then the glow valve has the ability to operate at higher efficiency even when the volumetric flow rate drops. And then again, we have the glow valve to be a fully turned or fully open valve. It is not like the ball valve which is quarter turn. So this one can open fully and it closes fully. So wherever we want the pressure to drop to this, it can open to a distance so that when the flow comes to hit the plate of the glow valve, it trickles down and then moves through the pipeline at the desired pressure outlet that we want.
Okay, so I also want to find out, why did you choose to use a different route, right, as compared to what was given in the question?
Thank you very much. So the pipeline route that we followed, we considered the practicability of the pipeline route. That is its feasibility to allow construction in our point of view. And then again, we also consider the fact that it should be straight enough in order to reduce bends and also reduce the complexity of our pipeline infrastructure, taking into consideration where we want to construct it from. We chose secondary regulating and metering station. So taking into consideration we allowing our pipeline to go straight and then not bending. And then again, we ensure the ease of construction and then ensure that the pipeline is not so close to human settlement. Human settlement can, of course, distract our operations. So if the pipeline is so close to human settlement and then also environmental or hazardous environment, it can also affect our operation and then the equipment we've installed on board.
All right, thank you. Last question, how do you intend to carry out your environmental and social impact assessment on the project, UNE? Thank you.
Thank you very much. We know that our operation will incur environmental problems. And so, for instance, when we are operating our pipeline, we are going to generate water waste. So we made mention of using the closed-loop regeneration system, which ensures that the water that we use, when it becomes waste, we can continuously circulate it, purify it, and reuse it, instead of disposing it off, because where we are operating, there are actually 3 rivers. So if we are to dispose it off, it might flow to contaminate these rivers. So we adopted that approach to ensure that we treat the water and reuse it again, instead of even demanding of new water to enhance our operation. And then again, we made mention of preserving the topsoil instead of throwing it away or using it to fill the trench. The topsoil is very rich in humus, as we all know, which supports plant growth. So we can't use that to cover the pipeline, so we keep it somewhere. And then after we are done with construction, we bring it back, and then we plant trees on it so that we can recover the damage that we cause to the terrain that we selected.
Thank you.
You want more questions? No? Okay. Okay, somebody wants to make
no, because it's a coach.
Okay, Justice, you are not allowed to ask a question.
We're objecting to that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you to all institutions for such a wonderful presentation. We have come to the end of this morning's show.
Right, so thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and to our institutions that stage here, Takoradi Technical University, University of Energy and Natural Resources, and the Tamale Technical University. This brings us to the end of Day 2, Zone 1 contest. And so we would revert in the next 30 minutes where we would have the final session for Day 2, and that contest will be between the University of Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and Ho Technical University. So we'll see you guys in the next 30 minutes. Thank you.